Hey everybody, this is Daniel Glass. I'm here at the DW factory in lovely Oxnard, California, and today I'm here to talk to you all about the incredible DW Classics line. Drums are unbelievably cool, and they were specifically designed for people who are interested in a vintage sound but perhaps didn't want to take their vintage drums on the road, couldn't find a vintage kit, were a little iffy on, maybe the shells are out of round. So these drums were designed for people that want that vintage sound. And what's so cool about them is that they come with all of the conveniences and the comforts of a modern kit. And most importantly, these drums are one of 3 lines that DW does custom lines, so that you can, when you order your Classics kit, they come with, you can design it exactly how you want it. Okay, so let's talk about what makes the DW Classic shell and the drums sound so amazing. Here we have a sample of the DW Classic shell. And first thing that you'll notice is that it's designed like so many of the drums from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, those great classic drums. It has the same wood construction. It's a 3-ply shell made of mahogany, poplar, and mahogany, which is exactly the same as a lot of those great classic drums. The other thing you'll notice is that it has a 10-ply maple reinforcement hoop. And like the older drums, the hoop is a lot wider, perhaps, than a drum you might, or a hoop that you might get on a more modern drum. So they've really gone all out to craft it from a similar kind of a wood construction. The other thing that I really love about these shells is that the bearing edges are what they call butter edges, which means it has a more rounded edge like the older drums, and it gives you that real warm, full, round sound when you strike the drum, which just gives it that classic vibe. So it's great. I mean, these drums, they're amazing. And of course, the most important thing that you want to think about when designing your own custom kit is what kind of a finish to get on it. And because it is a custom design line, you can choose from all of the FinishPly wraps that DW offers, and they have a lot of these really cool pearl wraps, which of course is, a lot of vintage drums out there had this type of a finish on them. The finish that I'm particularly excited about, and the one that I have on my DW Classics kit, is what's called Vintage Marine. And rather than it being a new looking, very shiny type of a marine finish, it has kind of a weathered or worn look to it. So it looks like it's been in smoky bars and on tour for the last 40 or 50 years. And that's what I love. It's a brand new kit, but it comes out with that real vintage look. And then of course you can also, if you don't want to go with a wrap type design, this shell that I was showing you earlier is just the natural lacquered look, and you can get your Classics kit done in this type of a wood finish too, and I think that just looks beautiful. So there you go. All right, so let's talk about some of the mounting options that you can take advantage of when you get a DW Classics kit. Now, you probably noticed that this tom right here is mounted in a snare basket. And that's a very typical thing. Guys who play vintage drums like to sometimes mount the rack tom in a snare stand. It has a certain cool look to it. So that's one way to go. Also, if you order a DW Classics kit, it automatically comes with the STM suspension tom mount DW mounting system so that you can put it onto a DW stand. And that actually comes from the factory like this. So that's a cool option you can take advantage of if you want. One of the things that I absolutely love about this line that DW thought of that I think is so creative is that they took the vintage idea, or the idea on a lot of vintage drums, of mounting your cymbals or your rack tom directly onto the bass drum. And so you see here on this kit, you could mount your ride cymbal there. You can also put a splash cymbal, which is something that a lot of the classic drummers, you know, your Gene Krupas, your Buddy Riches, that's how they used to mount their splash back in the day. And then you've got the external rail mount. Now, the problem with using real vintage drums is that a lot of times that rail mount was really rickety. The metal that they used wasn't very strong. There was no way to clamp it down or to hold it in place. And so right in the middle of, of your show, your drum would sag forward or fall to the side, and it made it really uncomfortable. It wasn't very adjustable. And DW has taken care of all of that with their rail mount. It's really well adjustable, and it has memory lock type system built into it, and it also has the swivel lock that they use on all of the cymbal stands, so you can just crank that down, and then it's got what's called a tech lock, which allows you to use your drum key to tighten things down even more. So it really locks it in. There's no rattling, there's no movement, and it makes it totally roadworthy. You can take these drums out on the road and not worry that that the system is going to fail you, say, when you're in the middle of Toledo or someplace like that. It's roadworthy, it's strong, it's durable, and it looks beautiful. It still maintains that retro look. Now, one of the other really cool things when you look at the floor toms, you'll notice that they use the DW TB12 mounting bracket, which is a very heavy duty, solid. You can lock it down. A lot of the vintage drums, it was tough to crank things down, so you'd be in the middle of playing and something would your tom would suddenly fall over on your leg, or one of those kind of nightmare scenarios. But the TB12 is a modern convenience, so it allows you to really tighten it down. You can get a memory lock for it, so you can just drop your leg in, boom, you're good to go. And the other cool thing about the floor tom legs is that they're what are called resonant legs, which means that they're not straight. They come down and then they curve out at the bottom. And if you've ever played vintage drums that have just a straight leg, what you'll notice is that the leg tends to eat up the sound of the drum. It totally kills the actual nice resonant sound of the shell. And so when you use these DW legs, the modern legs, then you're able to really get the full sound out of the drum, and that's just great. So it's great because it's a vintage style kit, but it's got all the modern conveniences you could want. You could take it on the road, and it still looks fantastic, has that great vintage look to it. One other thing that I'd like to point out about the DW Classics kit is that they come standard with DW heads that are made by Remo USA. And the heads are designed in a crimped fashion. They're a single ply coated head. It gives you that warmer, darker kind of classic retro type of sound. So you get those. If you want to order them, you can order them aftermarket as well. if you want to kind of continue to maintain that vibe on your kit once you run through the first set of heads. So there you go. It's kind of a complete package in terms of the drum shell, construction, all these really cool design features that you can put in there, customizing your finish and hardware options, mounting options, these really great heads. And when you throw that together with like the DW 6000 series hardware, which is amazing old school style flat bass hardware, you really get an incredible package that all comes together to give you just that fantastic kind of really hip retro style. And for those of you rock players out there who may not fancy yourselves to be a swing or a jazz player, I do a lot of sessions as well where I'll go into the studio for a funk session, a singer-songwriter session, a rock session, and they'll say, you know, we really want to get that classic sound because a lot of producers today use vintage drums in the studio because they sound unique, they sound different, and it gives just a great sound in the studio. So boom, if you got your classics kit, you know, you're good to go in those situations as well. So get out there and check one out because they're just absolutely amazing drums. Take it from me. My name's Daniel Glass, and thanks so much for watching.